Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Everton Daily Extra. It is Tuesday, April the 2nd, and Everton go to Newcastle tonight in what is a tough game. And they've got 5 players back who we thought might be out. They're all back tonight, which makes it even tougher. Following on from Saturday's disappointing results, Everton could equal a 67-year record tonight. Sean Dyche could do it, which would be 13 games without a win.
I think he can do.
Let's be honest, it's absolutely abysmal. How are you feeling? Are you feeling like we can go and win there?
No, not particularly, no. I feel all right. There's no real... I'm not really thinking about the game as such.
Yeah.
I'm just...
Best way to deal with it.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about it as such. It's a tough game, and if we play like we've been playing, we've got no chance. We haven't. You know, people can dress up as much as they want. We've got no chance if we play like the way we've been playing. But if we can get back to maybe something we were doing, which was being a bit more resolute, because there was a time, and it wasn't even that long ago, when defensively we were actually all right, and we were dealing with a lot that teams could throw at us. You know, a lot of teams weren't stretching us that much, but we just couldn't score goals. The problem is, last few games it's crept in the other side of it.
Since Fulham, I think we're conceding 2 goals a game on average.
But even like when we went to City, for large parts of that game, we were quite comfortable defensively, and actually give the blueprint for a lot of other teams to go and do it better than us, because they got a threat, and so you're not camped in your own half of the entire game. We've got to get back to some of that. Unfortunately, my worry is that you get back to being a bit like that, and you absolutely sacrifice your attacking threat.
But do you not think? Just right now, it looks like the players don't have any belief in what they're doing.
Yeah.
Seems like
no.
There's
a. Yeah, I think you watch us and you just think, do they actually think this is going to be enough? And sadly, for a few of them, I don't think when you watch it, I think. Straight off the bat, I think a few of them don't enjoy the way we play. It limits them as footballers. And I think you only have to get 2 or 3 of them in your team who get frustrated by the way you play, and you start seeing issues. But something is going to have to fundamentally
I think he'll make
change.
3 changes tonight from Saturday, but I don't think he'll change the way we play, because I think that's probably too radical for him. I still think it'll be 4-4-1-1. I think Beto will come in for Dom, which ironically I thought would be the other way around at the weekend. I thought he'd go with Beto, Saturday and Dom tonight, but I feel like Beto will come in tonight. Wouldn't surprise me if Patterson came in tonight. And then maybe Idrissa will come in for James Garner as he tries to freshen it up. But I'd probably play James Garner on the right hand side tonight, just to have that little bit of someone who can put a cracking ball in on the right hand side. You know, sure his cross for Beto against West Ham, great ball in from that side. And it is more we do. It's not like we break at pace, is it?
No,
you know what I mean. So I think at home, I don't like James Garner wide right at Goodison, because I feel like the onus should be on us. But away from home, don't mind them settling in and sitting in and seeing how we go. And then that'd have to give you Jack Harrison as a sub then for the last kind of 25 minutes, if you're still in the game, to go and try and stretch them a little bit. But I know they've got doubts over Bruno Guimaraes and Isaac, haven't they? But I imagine the likes of Trippier and that, I think, probably be back. A couple of others, but Shah's all right, I believe, even though they thought he wasn't going to be. I think he is. But a couple of people saying they've got defensive issues, so why not go with 2 strikers and try to put them on, make it uncomfortable for them? Because let's be honest, we don't play football.
No.
So we may as well just go long. I'd have less criticism of the management team if they just went, you know what, we're not great. We find it more comfortable to just bang it long. So bang it long and have 2 lads up there. Why not? We're not here to win any friends, and let's be honest, the whole thing will be rethought in the summer anyway. I imagine the manager's position, if the takeover takes over, will be looked at very closely this summer. Everton might want to go a different way. They might not, but that'll be decided in the summer, regardless of whether we stay up or we were relegated. But for now, why not just go 9 games, and we're gonna try and put you under pressure for the 9, and by doing that, we can still keep nice and tight. Just bang it long to 2 centre forwards and ask the wide players to get up there as well. And at the core age,
I thought that's what we did already, if I'm honest.
We don't though, do we? Because the core just hasn't picked he hasn't picked the mantle back up since he come back in. He's off the pace. He's not gambling beyond Dom when Dom plays. The wingers aren't getting up. We're not getting bodies in the box so they can throw crosses in. Jack Harrison comes back inside on his left foot all the time instead of standing some up with his right foot. And so we're not really doing one or the other. It's why I keep banging on about 3-5-2. People might be getting annoyed with me for saying it, but I just feel like in a 3-5-2, at least we'd have 2 lads up there to put pressure on. And we could enable the core to break in as well. So I'd rather us just go, look, we're not playing football, we're just kicking it long for 9 games. We'll reassess it in the summer. But right now, we're in a fight. We need to win 4 games. And, I'm sure we'll hear tomorrow or Thursday about whether we're getting more points. And you wouldn't bet against us getting at least 1 point taken off us, more like 2, which puts us right back in with everybody else. So, I don't know. I just try something else. I mean, Forest are home to Fulham tonight. We need Alex Iwobi to turn it on for us tonight, and Bournemouth to beat Crystal Palace to keep them within touching distance. Wolves to go and win at Burn. We're in that that thing again, and then hope Arsenal turn up tomorrow against Luton. We're in that. That's the foothills we're in at the moment. That we're looking at everybody else as well. We've got to surely do something different. Surely.
I don't think he will. I think he'll go 4-1-1 again, because he doesn't know how to play anything else. Or doesn't want to play anything else. He believes in this way of playing. And I was listening to the press conference yesterday, and it's just the nonsense. Some of the stuff he comes out with is just beyond.
What was he saying about this game?
Nothing really. He just said they're a good side. It was straight after the game, so it wasn't really not much to say. But I was just listening to him. Someone asked him about the win and the losing run, and he was just like, "It's a season's work. It doesn't matter." It's like, well, it does matter, doesn't it? Because
you can't give a third of the season up to not winning.
It's like, it does matter, doesn't it? Because if fans are listening to that, and it's like, well, we went on a good run, and I've been on loads of good runs, and I was just like, yeah, but we're in a terrible run where you'd probably be sacked if we had a strong football club. A football club that wanted to do something wouldn't tolerate this. They'd see it as massive failure.
Sheffield United sacked their manager because he went 7 without a win.
Because it is failure. It is failure to lose this many games. Could be half of the season lost tonight if we lose. That's unacceptable for Everton Football Club. And unfortunately, when you've got no one to do the sacking, and the owner's checked out, and we're in limbo, and we've got an AI CEO, and
Oh, but the thing, it's not even about sacking him, but he shouldn't be saying things like, he should be saying this run's terrible and we need to change it. Let the fans know that you're feeling like we are. Now, I'm quite sure he is. Quite sure there's no way on earth Sean Dyche wants to go 13 games without winning a game of football, but let us see that side of you then. Let us see you going, it's not good enough, and we've told this. We've had this has got to end, this run, it's terrible. Now, they might not want to say that because that puts more pressure on them, but at least we go, you know what, you're feeling like we are. This is devastating, this. And Evertonians, shouldn't be accepting it. And people can make excuses all you want, but the reality is we're in a relegation battle, not just because we've had some points taken off us. We're in it because we're terrible. We've been terrible for 4 months.
Yeah.
As in, not winning a game. You should be able to win a game of football every few games. You should. It's the Premier League. We're the only team in that period that hasn't won a game. Even Sheffield United, who never win, have won a game. So, dismissing it as it's a season's work, I'm not sure that... I understand that in the opening 6 weeks of the season. Do you know what I mean? Where you've had a couple of defeats and things aren't going. You say... Martinez used to say it, didn't he? He said, like, the season's in thirds and whatever. Judge me at the end of the season if you like. I get that when it's like the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season. Like Iriola at Bournemouth would have been saying, let's just see how we go. We're trying to build something. Yeah. And I get that. And I even would have got that a year ago when he come in. If he'd have gone, I'm getting to grips with this. This isn't my team. I've not been here long. I've got to get to get. I accepted all that. His hands were tied. He just had what he had. He couldn't even add to it. I don't think you can say that when you've been here for 15 months. I don't think you can say it's a season's work. You should be coming out saying this isn't good enough and we have to change it.
Oh, you can start the season slow, of course you can, and you can. We look at the first month of the season. We never won a game. And
so I understand them saying it then.
Some very ordinary sides, but we never won a game. And then you say, right, that's where you develop and that's where you're moving through the gears, building something, and then you build on that, and that's what we looked like we'd actually done. But then when there's a drop off, I said this yesterday or on Saturday. He talked. I think he talked after the game about, but he went back about the 4 games that we'd won. Like the 4 games we won sort of represented the other side of this.
The real us.
And it's like, well, that's 4 games. This is...
And it happened in 10 days or something.
Yeah, this is a large portion of the season at a place where you're actually supposed to be in your stride, and actually you've kicked on and everything is settled down. And because what can happen in a season, we've seen this loads in the last few years, is you have a good start and you get to October, and suddenly you found out, and then you really struggle. And you're
with a lot of teams, don't you?
You're trying to pick up points. Everyone knows how you play. Everyone's seen you a few times against different kinds of opposition, so they know how to stop you depending on how they play. Whereas we're in a position now where we've gone nearly to the halfway point, and the second half of the season is just absolutely abysmal. And you can't sit there and just go, it's a season's work, because if something is going wrong, then you have to change it. And you can't just rely on going back to the things that maybe got you a few wins beforehand, because things have changed. The core race form has dropped off massively. The wide men look knackered. The midfield has changed around a few times. There's less options on the bench because there's no Dan Juma, and we should be at a point now in the season where the likes of Schmidt have had enough games where you look at him and go, we can get him on the pitch in a game like Saturday. It should be enough games where, like Dobbin, if we haven't got that many players, if it's like
anyway.
No, but you look at someone like Dobbin and you go, he's an option as well. And that's the problem. You build up to a point in the season where you have given enough players a little bit of time that you go, well, we know what we're going to get from them.
That's frustrating. Stuart says no excuses tonight. Dyche change the formation, go 2 up top, and good afternoon, everyone. Eugene thinks Dom will break his goal scoring duck tonight. He's got a good record against Newcastle in general, hasn't he? And he scored a few goals up there, so hope so. Dylan says, well done on the overlap. Baz, cheers, mate. Annoying the way your points get dismissed by the top 6 loving. They can't see it. They're in. It's like I said I don't even know if it was the first part or the second part of it, but when you're in that party, you can't see everybody else outside it, and you don't care about everybody else because you're in it. And that's why, even though and I know people don't like Jamie Carragher and people have a go on Neville, I like them as pundits. I think they're very good, and I think when they take their glasses off. They are, you know, they know enough about it. But the problem is they can't take the glasses off to look at it from everybody else's perspective. And it is different. If we were in the 6, we'd probably have a different
But then
view.
They need to change the show then.
No, I know
it's
that.
Pointless.
No,
it's
I know.
pointless.
I know. I'm just saying, it's human nature. If we were in that 6, we'd look at everybody else differently. But you can't do when you're trying to, in my opinion, when you're having a show like that. You have to try to, as much as you can, step away from having that view. Gary Neville tries to do it, but he will still be pulled back by the fact it's Manchester United. Jamie Carragher picks and chooses when he wants to do it and when he doesn't want to do it. All I'll keep doing is hitting them with the message. Everton have run, you know, if they want to have a go at how poorly Everton have been run, then I'll stand next to them. But if we're talking about breaches and stuff, the rules aren't fit for purpose. You can't have a situation, it was put out the other day, wasn't it? Man City can spend 500 million again. Mm-hmm. And yet Everton are getting hammered for bringing in nearly £50 million in players' sales. We can't spend anywhere near that amount of money. So that doesn't make any sense. Newcastle can't spend 500 million. Aston Villa can't spend 500. It doesn't make... You can't then go, well, that's your fault. That can't be the answer, can it? It can't be the answer in the Premier League, which is supposed to be about competition. That one club can spend £500 million, but other clubs in the league are not allowed to. Well, that's your fault. That doesn't spell fair competition. But Stuart says Chris Sutton's predicting Newcastle 1, Everton 2. Give me some of what he's drinking. Very interesting that, because he normally doesn't. He normally doesn't predict us to win anything. GC says afternoon. Hope I'm wrong, but can't see anything more than a Newcastle win, 2 or 3-0, maybe 4. They have players who can take their chances. You do have lads who can put the ball in the net, don't they? And that's a huge one. And what you do with that, you just got to go for it, haven't you? Yes, DP, I've watched Leif Davis. I'm not sure, mate, on him. I watched them last night. I watched Dyche yesterday, and I'll be honest, I did celebrate when he scored to make it 3-2 until Leeds got a penalty with 3 minutes to go. But he's a good player, but I'm not convinced Premier League. But he's a good player. He's got a nice left foot on him. Nathan Broder scored after about 20 seconds of coming on. A sub, lovely little goal.
It's funny when he scores, there's not like a big mass thing to have him back.
Like Ellis Sims.
Yeah. Even though I think he scored the same amount of goals as him this season. It's weird that.
He done well, Ellis Sims. He's done well lately. But their fans before Christmas were saying he was the worst player they've ever signed. Shows you some goals can change opinions, doesn't it? Mike said, Dyche said not long after taking the job, sometimes you have to reset and think about how a new manager would approach it when you're on a bad run. By his comments, he doesn't seem concerned by our run. Okay. Joe Mack says we recently loved to match these terrible stats, don't we? Do you think this will be added to the Goodison timeline?
I hope so. Put it right under Bill.
Well, I mean, basically, they didn't put in the shop, they didn't put the FA Cup win in 1995, which I still find, it's there now. Yeah. But I still find that absolutely bizarre that when we last won a trophy, it wasn't up there. It's crazy. Gary Walters, Hardy. Adam says, as much as I like the core, him and Ashley Young have moments in every match where I think they're completely brain dead. In virtually every game, there'll be a time where the opposition players going nowhere and the only end result can be a foul, and they always do it. As much as I like him, it's so annoying. You can even predict watching the play that he will foul someone, and he generally does. You know what, though? You're right. But I was watching Ipswich and Southampton, and a couple of times Ipswich play, I've just talked about Leeds and Hull last night. The penalty for Leeds, 3 minutes to go. They're getting frustrated. Crescencio Somerville's running into the box, but he's running the ball out for a goal kick, and the lad just puts a leg out and chops him down. And it's like, what are you doing? Just run shoulder to shoulder. He's going nowhere. Penalty, and they win the game. So it's just footballers. Phil Williams asks the real important question here. Why can't our wingers pass or cross the ball in front of our strikers?
It's one of those mysteries, very much like, the pyramids all around the world.
Yeah.
It's one of those kind of things.
Or UFOs over Mount Sadie and Tenerife.
Just one of those things. We'll never get to the bottom of it.
No. Crazy. He also says, and Dyche out.
Fair play.
Fair play, Phil. Fair play. You're entitled to your opinion, mate. David says, morning, gents. I'm shook. I have no idea how to process this new breach. I'm officially worried, and we lack intensity in our play right now. We've lacked intensity in our play since around the 30th of December, to be honest.
We haven't obviously spoke about, because we haven't been on since the financial stuff came on. But I think just for clarity, the breach that we've had, that is the second PSR charge, isn't it? Yeah. No, I'm just saying, because people are saying they don't know how to. That's the second.
Oh, that's the thing. I have been told it's less than the first one. I don't know. I'm just saying that is what is out there. Or sorry, what we've been told. The breach is smaller than the first one. So therefore, if you want to kind of just do a basic sum in your head, and you say, well, you get 3 points for breaching. Therefore, at worst, we'll get 3 points this time. As long as there's no aggravation, and I think Everton have obviously, unlike that, there is mitigation in it, that it's the first year in the finances, USM sponsorship wasn't in the club and it was suspended, so I'm sure the club will argue that they couldn't replace it because it's the suspension of a contract. Therefore, the contract's still ongoing, but you can't replace that contract. So that's mitigation. And Everton will argue, of course, they've already been done for 2/3 of the thing. So I think Everton will get between 1 and 2 points deducted. But there is a school of thought that says Everton don't get any points deducted because of the two things I've said, and obviously the breach being smaller and stuff like that. So we'll see. But listen, it is what it is. It's numbers from a year ago. I think the biggest thing in is seeing how much the ball got to go away. Which is incredible.
When they should have been sacked.
Should have been sacked with nothing, and they end up taking 3.25 million, I think it was, to go away. They were paid 3 million quid while they were in employment there or something, which is just incredible for putting the football club in the mess it's in. Absolutely scandalous. I mean, Harry James Tattoo says, nice to see Little Miss Dynamite, the best in the business, got a nice payout there. Thanks, Bill, he says. It's mad, isn't it? Run the club into ruin, financial ruin almost, and get a huge payoff for doing it. Football is the only business where you're well paid to fail. Yeah. You fail and you get rewarded. It's crazy.
She's currently spearheading the new transport links within the city centre.
Is she doing that?
So if you see a train just driving to the Mersey, you know why.
Andy says, I have every confidence in Dyche. I have no doubt he will secure the record with a lot to spare. That's the 67-year-old record he's talking about there. Josh says, afternoon, guys. Scary to think this month could determine the future of this club. Yeah, it could. It could. Obviously, if we went down, it would be terrifying financially. That's why I was amazed last week when people were saying they'd rather go into administration than have 777 take over. Administration would mean, of course, relegation. And people advocating for Everton to be relegated is not a bus I can get on, I'm afraid. Would destroy the football club. So for people to actually think like that, I just found absolutely crazy. We need to start winning games. We need 4 wins, in my opinion, to stay up. Will we get them? We're going to have to do something we've not been doing, aren't we? We're going to have to win almost. If we were to not win tonight, then we'd need to win 50% of our games to stay up. At the moment, that seems impossible for this team.
I mean, hang on, that's like an arbitrary figure. We don't actually know that.
No, I'm saying for me, I think if we lose a point or two, which I think we will, that'd put us on. Say we lost 2 in my head, so that'd go to 23 points. I think 35 points keeps you up. I think it could be miles wrong, could be 40, it could be 30. I have no idea. But in my head, I'm thinking around the 35-point mark. And therefore, that means we'd need 12 points. So, of course, that could be 3 out the 8. It could be 3 wins, 3 draws and 2 defeats. 4 wins is easier to process, isn't it? Could go and win at Newcastle tonight and then it's 3 wins. But it is, you're right, Josh, it's a pivotal month. It's going to be a pivotal 7 to 9 days, I think, for the football club. I think we'll know about the PSR stuff this week. We'll know about where we are. We'll have 2 league games by Saturday. But and we'll have next week. We'll have the decision for the takeover.
Let me just go backwards.
Yeah.
35 points, and I'm just being devil's advocate.
Go on, be devil's advocate. Be Nedell's advocate.
Luton have got 22 points, so that means they would get 13 points from their final 8 games.
If they play 30 now,
they play 30,
and they play Arsenal.
Yeah, so that's 7. So let's say they get beat tomorrow. That'd be you're saying they're getting 12 points from their last. I
don't know. I'm just saying for me,
because
that's what it requires. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's why I'm saying it could be 30, but I'm in my own head just thinking if Everton got 4 wins, they would be safe. That's how I'm working through. Luton, it could, like I just said, Luton might only win 2 more games this season. That's it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one of them might be against us.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Well, that's what gives
it might not.
That's what gives them life, is that they play us at their gaff. So
but that's in May. I mean, they might be. By then, they could be in terrific trouble, couldn't they? They've got Arsenal away tomorrow. They've got Bournemouth at home on Saturday. Yeah, but Bournemouth just beat them 4-3 and have got real Solanke. But if Luton keep giving the chances up, Solanke will take it. They then go to Man City the week after. Jet. They've then got Brentford at home. They were going to need the points. They've got Wolves away. Everton at home. West Ham away. And they finish with Fulham at home last day.
I'm thinking 30 points tops.
8. So they're getting 8 more points.
I'm saying 30 points tops.
So for Everton then, if we got 2 points deducted, we'd need 8 points then to stay up. Wouldn't we? We'd have 31.
Yeah.
I hope you're right and I'm wrong, but I hope I'm right, because it means we'd win 4 games this season. That's what I'm hoping. Tonight, just go to Newcastle, get one of those results that no one ever expects, and just, it mean them. I said this last week about if we won at Bournemouth and then Newcastle, we didn't get anything, but then we beat Burnley. Imagine it. Well, imagine if we won tonight and beat Burnley on Saturday. We'd have 1 foot in the Premier League for next season, even with points deductions, wouldn't we? But the longer it goes on, let's have a look at Forest's fixtures. So Nottingham Forest have got Fulham at home tonight, which, how do you see that one going?
Oh, I don't know.
Winnable for Forest.
Yeah, it is winnable. It is definitely winnable. Fulham have been good recently, but
they have been good. I mean, even Saturday they went 4-1 down and got a 3-3 draw, didn't they? As you said. So they've got Fulham at home tonight. They've got Spurs away on Sunday. They've got Wolves at home the week after. They've got Everton away the week after. They've got Man City at home. Sheffield United away. Hello, 4-0 to Forest. Chelsea at home. And then Burnley away.
Bloody hell.
So they've got a mixed bag. So they've got 8 games to go. If Fulham avoid defeat tonight, then there could be a world where you go, well, Forest will lose at Spurs. They'll lose at Everton. Lose against City. lose against Chelsea, but will win at Burnley, Sheffield United and beat Wolves at home. So they could have 8 points more than what they've got now, say, if they drew with Fulham tonight. These are all huge if, buts and maybes, of course. And that'll give Forest 30 points as well. So that's the case, then Everton would only need 8 points. But if Everton just won 4 games, it'd be great. It's all ifs, buts and maybes, and none of us know, do we? Let's be honest. Mark Mack says, any positive news today, lads? I agree, 352. Need to try something new. Glenn Watson says, Big Bazzy Cash, true or false, Sean Dyche is a blurt. I couldn't confirm or deny that, mate. Jez says, if Dyche lines up or something the same way, do you think it's actually worth watching? Surely insanity is also us watching the same thing and hoping for a different outcome. I think he will line us up the same way, though.
People keep on watching EastEnders. So
that is true. That is true. And apparently Hollyoaks, because that's still going.
That's still a thing, yeah.
So. Martin Kitney says, no chance we get anything tonight. Dyche's comments that he doesn't care about the winless record. Well, the fans certainly do. It's a disgusting comment. I've lost all faith in him. Okay. Will you get faith back in him if he wins tonight?
Or if he turns up dressed as George Michael?
Interesting. Interesting.
Tonight, Mathew.
Tonight, Mathew. Just dye his, like, this ginger. Just
let his hair grow.
Dye his beard, but then do, like, the triangle like George had.
I think
just
so.
Stand on the line.
I think so.
Careless whispering everywhere. Mark Matt says Patterson, right midfield, should be an option, really. Why not? Why not? Do something. Just flummox them. Derek says, hi lads, I don't have faith in Dyche to change things up sufficiently to give us the best chance of getting a positive result. Harrison, Godfrey and Garner need to be changed with Michalenko, Beto and Guy coming in. But then 3 might well come in. Like to change 1 or 2 more like McNeil and Coleman, but don't have enough improvements on the bench. Think we will need to score more than 1, as I fancy Newcastle will score. So without changes to players and formation, I can only see us losing. I think he will make some changes tonight to do. But I agree with you. I think if Everton are to win the game, they're going to have to score 2 goals, at least. Because I think Newcastle will score.
Yeah.
Hope I'm massively wrong. Really do. Steve P says, what are your thoughts on Roy Keane saying Haaland's general play is like a League 2 player? Awful take in my opinion. If that was closer to, there's no way in earth he'd be playing under Pep Guardiola. I feel these so-called pundits just get paid to talk absolute waffle because most of them have got no intention of analysing the game properly. Seems like with Keane, he's there to pick up a paycheck. He doesn't actually want to be there, certainly when he's been on the overlap. Haaland is a big hench of a centre forward. Of course, he's not going to be like some smooth cultured player, but his general play is like a League 2 player. It's just ridiculous when we've seen him destroy defenders by dribbling many times. Yeah, definitely League 2 level. What's your take on that?
I understand what he's saying. I understand the point. When a player doesn't barely touch the ball for or that's like 7 or 8 touches a half or whatever it is, I do understand the point of getting involved with the back to goal play and stuff like that. I
have seen him do that though.
I think for me, Haaland's biggest issue is Man City don't play a style of football that actually suits the way he plays, and therefore we're in tight games where people close off all the space. It makes it really difficult for him. I think he likes. We've seen him when he scores those goals from his own half, when he picks up the ball and he runs and there's all that space. That's ideally how he wants to play. It's like
he'll just come on loan to us.
Yeah, definitely. He is like it's like you're only getting half of the player, but half of the player is so good. But I do think in another team
who used them more,
he wouldn't get as many goals because he gets more chances. This is the weird thing about it. It's just that at City, he's there to finish stuff off, and I imagine it can be very frustrating being him. On some days you're getting loads of chances, and on other days you're not getting many chances, and it's getting the balance, I think. But I think I understand what he was saying in terms of just like sometimes it's about in-game intelligence, but yeah, Everyone on Sky is their role. It's a soap opera.
London Lad says the vendetta he had against Haaland's father has gone generational.
Maybe, yeah, maybe it's like...
Might be the bit of unconscious or very conscious bias.
Soonest thing.
Yeah. London Lad says, good afternoon, gents. Come on, you Blues. We are 3 points ahead of the drop and have a game in hand. It's Liverpool. Let me just put it out there. Superior goal difference in a brand new stadium coming shortly. I'd rather be in our position than our relegation rivals at the Mo. Good way looking at it. Jonathan says, do you see us only getting 1 or 2 points even with the latest accounts? Yes, because forget about the losses. Forget about the 89.1 million. If you actually take the way it's argued down, Everton's breach is less than it was last time. So if you look at it, last time it was argued down. Me and John have done it this morning. It's crazy because you never get the proper figure. But last time's breach was, whatever the figure was, it was argued down by 28 million because of add-backs, which are allowed.
Yeah.
So if you took that, we know that Everton had to lose 41 million or something to breach the 105. And last time it was argued down by 28 million, and I think when you take the 28 million off 89, you're at 61, aren't you? And therefore, say it was 41 they were allowed to lose, or 42 they were allowed to lose. That means the breach would be 19 million over, but apparently it's less than that and smaller than the last one. The last one was 19.5. So because you don't get told the PSR number, you just go and what's this?
Yeah.
So it might be around 15 million, say, the breach. But Everton's mitigation will be, we lost USM, which was 25 million to 30 million a year. And we were unable to replace it because it's suspended in that year. So we can't do that. So that's a big chunk, and it is only mitigation. And we've already been done for 2/3 of this charge because you've done us with them 6 points for 2/3 of this. We're unable to rewrite history from 2021 and 21-22. We're just in it. And that'll be the mitigation.
I think Everton have made a massive mistake by not briefing people on this.
Yeah.
It was a huge figure to come out on a Sunday night just after such a big game, which obviously it was planned that way, which some of these things they do, it just baffle me. You know, like because they know if they bring it out at 6 o'clock, I mean, they have to come out by Sunday night, but bringing it out at 6 o'clock is like, well, everyone's going to be talking about Man City versus Arsenal, and they've obviously discussed that at Everton.
Of course.
But who cares? Our world doesn't involve Man City and Arsenal.
No.
Our world involves Everton. And we have journalists and we do what we do. This is our world. Who cares about the bigger world? Who cares about what the national media? They jump on it as well, because it's not like what's going to go on the back page on a Monday morning.
And the thing about it was City Arsenal's a bit tap as well. But if that had been a 4-3 classic, then yeah.
But even that though, it's like we don't live in a world where it's about the back page on a Monday morning. We live in a world where the newspapers can just put all the stories they want out because
on social media.
Because we live in a social media age and on newspaper, and this is the way they think at Everton. And I just can't get on board with this at all. What you do is you bring it out at a sensible time. So you bring it out like. Or you tell the journalists on Friday when you've got them, on Thursday when you've got them at Finch Farm. You tell them, you sit them down after the press conference and you go through it with them and you tell them what it means. But they already know, by the way, because we've already been in for the PSR, of course. So we already know how this is working out, what the PSR is on this. So you sit them down with the journalist and you explain. And of course, it's embargoed. You say this is embargoed till Sunday at 6 o'clock. And at 6 o'clock, all the Everton journalists have their story ready to go. and they've already broke down the figures, and they can go and say, right, it's not as bad. This isn't as bad. I mean, it is bad, but they can go, so much of this is because of the stadium. And then we as fans go, well, fair enough. If you spent X amount on the stadium, then we know that because we can see it. It's a big thing, isn't it? We can see that. It's going to be our thing, for not next year. We can see that's a real thing. You explain the USM losses, and then you explain how it affects PSR in a loose way. But no, what happens is at 6 o'clock, this big figure gets dropped, and it's panic stations, isn't it? It's panic stations everywhere. 90 million. Oh my God, this is terrible. Look, how are we losing this much money? And this is where I just don't understand the football club. It's got more media people than ever. I mean, it brought more on. That's another thing that's in the figures. We took on 30 odd more people, which is just crazy. Just prep people. Let people know. Let people know we were going to talk about it. Let us know.
And especially if you're gonna, if you need to be defended, then you should be briefing everybody and going, look, this is the reality of these numbers.
Kieran Maguire, you get him on the phone and you go, we know you're going to do this, so here's our side of it straight away, but it's embargoed. Anybody, pick up the phone to John Blaine, pick up the phone to the Esk. People you know are going to make big stories out of
the shareholders weren't told.
Exactly. But so again, what you're doing is you're trying to hide something that is going to be in plain sight at 6 o'clock. And I do not understand the football club the way it thinks. You cannot bury news anymore. You can't bury news on a Sunday because Arsenal are playing. It's going to come out. Our fan base, that's all they care about. So they see the big scary figure, and then of course
you do.
And then it takes a couple of days for people to dig into it, to get to the bottom of it. And the figure is big and scary, but you know what? For some people who understand these things, they might go, no, actually, there are mitigating circumstances. It's not terrible for PSR. Let's not all lose our minds all at once. And it's that side of things that I can't quite figure out what the football club think they're trying to achieve. It's like the house is on fire and they're doing the old, the Leslie Nielsen, nothing to see here. And you're like, well, there is, mate. And if you just explain to us what's going on rather than tell us there's nothing going on. Because if you tell us if everything's all right, people will dig deeper and you won't like what they find. So I find that extraordinary from the football club. I really do.
Yeah, they haven't dealt with it well in that way. And they need people to be on board and if they've got something to say because it isn't how it's not going to be reported accurately, then you need to give people the headline figures and go, look, this says this, but the reality is this. I'm having a conversation with someone well known who's on, in journalism on Sunday night and arguing the case, going, their thing was your wages have gone up. I'm like, yeah, but the wages haven't really gone up. What's happened is the turnover's gone up. When the turnover goes up, so that means your wage number goes up. You still paid. Just to do it basic sums. If Toffee TV made 100 grand in a year and you were on 10 grand a year, 10% would be. I know, Madsen.
You've doubled my wages, man. Yes.
This hypothetical world, imagine us making that money.
We meet tonight.
Right. Then 10% of our turnover's wages. But if next year we only make 80 grand, but you still get 10%, our rate wages to turnover, your wages look like they've gone up, but they haven't. They're the same, but our turnover's come down. That's all that's happened at Everton. Everton have had the big chunk of turnover come down. The wages haven't really gone anywhere, and people have gone, your wages have gone up, you're still a basket case of a club. But no one's explained. Everton haven't gone, listen, these are the numbers.
And the problem is that if that's the headline, the first headlines, oftentimes the first headline sticks on everything. On everything is sensationalised these days. So straight away when something happens, I don't know. Remember when we had that period when every time something went on, especially after 9/11, it was like, something has exploded. Is it terrorism? Is it a plane? And it was it was like, no, it's just something's just happened, like a normal thing. But then you get, oh, did you see that thing? Oh, it might have been something. It's going, no, it wasn't. It's been proven. It was like someone, left a flame there next to a paint canister or something. But it's just that sensationalism that you want straight away, isn't it? And we see that in the news all the time. We've seen that recently with all like the royal family stuff. It's like it's the first thing.
It takes a life of its own on, doesn't it?
Exactly. If you, instead of just explaining to people straight away off the bat what's going on, the world now will fill in the gaps for you.
Oh, definitely, yeah. You can't sit on it quietly now. Jay says,
excuse me.
Hi both. I thought my rage would have subsided by now since Saturday. Sadly not. It's clear this dinosaur will never change the mindset, and I'm convinced the players don't really believe in these tactics. I imagine he's lost a few as well after his Patterson antics. He also said after the Bournemouth game that these losing records don't really bother him. Guess what, Sean? They bother the fan base, the same fan base who will decide your future at this club.
Do you think dinosaurs would be really offended the way their name gets thrown around with no respect?
It's harsh, innit? Because there could be like really like progressive dinosaurs that are like, I'd play a 2-3-5 with inverted fullbacks.
I'm not being funny, lads, but when we were about, we didn't have computers or anything. We just had grass and trees and big swamps. And we didn't get a chance to learn all this stuff you've got to learn. And actually, we were doing all right for ourselves. You know, we sorted that park out in 2 days. What are you on about? And their name
could do it on a Tuesday night in the rain.
I think they could. You know what I mean? The name just gets thrown around with no respect whatsoever. No. Just no respect.
Harsh. It's harsh.
I believe, from what I've heard, dinosaurs never went 3 months without a win.
It's 4.
That's all I've heard.
Bill says, I've never been more despondent about the club on and off the pitch, and Dyche is doing my head in. It's okay making excuses and saying he doesn't have many options. Change the formation, move some players around, do something. It's proven by 12 games without a win. We won't stay up if we keep doing the same thing. It's insanity. I expect nothing tonight, but if we lose to Burnley, it could get ugly.
Well, it could get ugly. It could. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully Saturday is 3 points.
Say it.
And we're unbeaten in 2.
Now, what's sad is that I actually look at that game on Saturday and I think, not convinced we're going to win.
I'm not convinced.
We could easily win. We could easily win 4-1 on one of them days. But you look and you go, oh, God. You know what I mean? Where are we here? Oh, sorry, just refreshed. Hey, refresh it. Nick Williams says his only changes will be Young for Harrison, Beto for Dom and Garner for Onana. I think same system, same not very good tactics. I think Onana will play. I think it'll be Idrissa for James Garner. Rob says Haaland's play is poor though. He's a great goal scorer but not a great player. Okay.
That happens.
Paul says go a genuine 4-3-3. Beto, Chimiti and Calvert-Lewin front three. Garner, Onana, Harrison in midfield. He'd never do that. Be interesting. He'd never do it. Stan says, all right lads, hope I'm wrong, but I can't see us picking up 4 wins from what we've got left. Utter not very goodness. This manager has shown time and time again he's inept. The team has said many times before are not Premier League quality, put together by clueless people acting as firefighters instead of looking forward. Everton Viking says, get me Carlos Corberan next season, please. He's done. The thing is, he would come.
No.
He would come from West Brom. Absolutely. He's done brilliantly at West Brom.
Everton don't think.
Yeah, but that wouldn't... Yeah. See, this is the reason why I think if 777 took over, because Johan Spoors is the sporting director of everything, he might look at someone like that and go, they might look at things differently. They might not. They might defer and go.
I'm starting to think 777 are like
just
anyone who watched Lost. It's just that purgatory of like when 777 come or our 777 come. It's just
it's the same thing.
It's just that state of purgatory. It's basically the new version of any transfer we were ever linked with.
Yeah, it's true.
In the 2000s, isn't it? It's just like
it's a club called for by another name.
It's just the new Wagner Love. It's just the new
I really thought we were getting him until his club decided.
Witsel is ours, do you know what I mean? It's the new one, isn't it? 777 are just like the thing you were promised every year by your mum and dad for Christmas, and then at the last minute there was a reason why you couldn't have it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's...
Who knows? It's a decision, I think, that more so than 777. It's a decision.
It's just boss. It's just...
That's what we're left with.
Just every day for like the last 6 months, it's just been 777 when they come, or if they come, it's just like it's maybe it's just not a real. Someone just went, do you know what? There's just not enough going on at Everton. We need to invent a story.
Create something.
Let's create a story
that just runs and runs.
Keep it going for ages. I'm trying to think of like a film where something was like faking it, but like just keep it going for ages.
Liam says, and he's like, from the outside, I'm genuinely not convinced about anything about 777. It's real. It's all smoke and mirrors.
It's the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. It is crazy. Wagner love shout, says Rondon the legend. I know. It was Wagner Love was amazing because he was playing one more game for CSKA Moscow on the Saturday. And I know when it was, because it was Pina got injured in a pre-season friendly. It was the last pre-season friendly we played at Goodison. We got beat 1-0 on a Saturday against it. Will have been Spanish. Probably Villarreal it was. And we got beat 1-0 on a Saturday. And Wagner Love played in the day and scored 2. And that was like his farewell.
Yeah.
And then, because he got 2, CSKA were like, why are we getting rid of this fella who's like very good?
All you need is love. The song and everything.
Curtis says they'll announce the 777 takeover when Raquelme gets announced.
Yeah.
And Graham Rogers says 777 is the mullet of the Premier League era. I bet it'll be the tax that does them in too. It could be thingy, couldn't it? It could be very much like Christopher Samuelson, couldn't it? And Anton Zingarevich. Maybe the 777 at the modern day, 20 years later, after the Anton Zingarevich debacle with Chris Samuelson.
The
777 could be the new one.
Do you know what? Loads of people who watch us are obviously younger people. You've got obviously a lot of fans from abroad that we love. And they don't realize they will have not seen like the Forza stuff and all that we saw. It was just
that was the worst.
The NTL stuff was just like, if you like, honest to God, the NTL stuff and the Forza stuff where like at least whatever you say about 777, you know pretty much that Josh Wander is a real person and they're all real people, and whatever you think about them, they're all real. The Forza stuff and the oh my God, the NTL stuff was the funniest. It literally, Ken Wright said it will be in the bank by Monday, didn't he?
He said it, yeah.
He literally said it. He said it'll be. So basically,
it's all done.
Basically, what happened was, dead sure, there was just a period of time where everyone went footy's boss, and everyone started trying to buy. Media companies started to buy into football club. Sky were going to buy Manchester United.
Yeah.
Was it Man United or Chelsea? Anyway,
Chelsea it was.
Chelsea. And basically, you can't buy the entire club. It's a conflict of interest. You run the TV. You can't buy it.
Abramovich took over then, didn't he?
So they said you can all have like 5%. So like NTL started. NTL was an old cable company, and they were like, you can buy in 5%. So all these clubs, like I think Liverpool, Villa, a few others, started getting 5% here and there. And it was like a big boost at the time because there wasn't loads of money at them at that time. And we were supposed to get and Ken Wright basically said it's in the bank on Monday. And we're buying this player and we're buying that player with the money that we didn't have. Anyway, it fell through. We never got the money. In a way, it was good because basically all these people had splurged. There was a company called ITV Football. ITV had the Premier League, and they had the idea of setting up a separate channel that you would pay for. It was around the same time the pay-per-view was coming in and all this. And that all fell tits up. And basically it all fell tits up. But we'd already spent the money. So if we'd not spent any money, we would have been fine because we wouldn't have had. So we basically spent the money in from something that wasn't invested into us, whereas other clubs it all fell apart. So money that they, like a little bit like what we've had in the last couple of years, money was taken away from the club, and suddenly when money's taken away and you can't find something to replace that causes its own problems.
We were 30 million.
Yeah.
And 30 minutes away from receiving 30 million pounds.
But we'd already spent it.
No, we spent it.
So
we spent it on.
So we spent this money. And then then the next thing was Christopher Samuelson's coming in for Fortress. Oh, it's all been going a big takeover. Never happened. And to this day, lots of people believe that Christopher Samuelson was just an actor that Bill Kenwright had hired. Like, they do, don't they? Loads of people. Because this fella just vanished into the ether. Like, no one's ever heard.
Zingerevich did buy Reading eventually.
He did go to Portsmouth, I think.
He bought Samuelson, did, but Anton Zingerevich, who it was, bought into Reading, but he done nothing with them.
So, yeah.
This was 2004. I can tell you this story. I went to Crystal Palace we got beat 4-1 opening day by Arsenal. Remember that? In 2004. They battered us at Goodison 4-1. Yeah. And I went to Palace the week later and we beat them 3-1. Gravison scored, Marcus Bent scored. Gravison got 2. We won 3-1. All white kit. Beautiful August afternoon in South London.
Yeah. The start.
And I was staying in my sister-in-law's, and I got up the next day and it was everywhere. So I went and bought a newspaper, remember them? And it was on the back.
Yeah.
And it had Everton's Russian takeover.
Yeah.
And it was like, Everton, they're going to be this Anton Zingerevich. He's a billionaire. Bill Kenwright's got him in. Everton, David Moyes is going to be given £200 million war chest in January.
War chest, man.
War chest, that was it.
War chest.
Everton will be going for the Champions League and the league title. And I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. We just won 3-1 at Palace. We've got this striker, Marcus Bent, who ran through and scored. It was amazing. We're getting this war chest. This Zingerevich is incredible. Yeah.
But let me just set
I'm still waiting for him.
Let me just set the scene for you, though. And it only really needs a couple of sentences, if only one. We just sold Wayne Rooney. So, we just sold.
And we were in the midst of the King's dock. Yeah. We needed the money.
Yeah.
Paul Gregg, who we may or not be hearing from very soon. Watch this space. He was putting the pressure on Bill Kenwright, and it actually looked like Bill Kenwright was going to be forced out of Everton.
Yeah.
And
if only.
What happened was David Moyes started winning football matches, and the noise died down a little bit because the fans wanted Kenwright out at that time, wanted the King's Dock to go through and all that. And in true fashion, Everton started winning games, and everyone just went, "That's all right now."
Yeah, basically, that's basically what happened. In basic Everton fashion, which has happened as long as I've lived, is basically you win a few games and people just go, "Oh, it's all right now."
This is what would happen with a lot of people, I think, with the manager at the moment. If Everton won tonight and beat Burnley, everyone would be going, "Keep him, he's amazing."
No, but at the time, as I said,
that's emotion of football.
At the time, it was we needed the King's Dock, and Paul, like, basically we needed 30 million quid. Bill Kenwright said it had been ring fenced. There was a battle. Paul Gregg wanted the club, and it fell through. Paul Gregg went away. Kenwright got to own the club. Obviously, had no ambition to do anything with it, and the King's Dock went up in smoke. It was all there. Everyone wanted it. Everton just couldn't afford their end, sadly, and that was it. But we had all these stories for ages of who was buying Everton, and sadly, nobody bought Everton till Mashiri came in. So it was just crazy at the time. It was absolute, because all you had was newspapers as well to feed you this. It was dead easy to get stories out. And we know people who worked at Everton at the time, documents came out basically saying, leaning on Everton-friendly journalists to keep pushing the story of, Everton. A certain man at Everton was pushing stories out to all to friendlies, and to make sure that Everton fans were put back in their place. It was a lot easier then to control us, because it was people would go, "Oh yeah, but have you read this? We're buying this player," or no, there is a takeover, or it was a lot easier than the internet but Everton still think that it is all about journalists, sadly. So It was crazy time.
Like, last couple, Wesley, yes, I agree. Pickford needs to improve in the 6-yard box, never collects anything near him, correct. David Atherton says left field pick for Dyche's replacement. Bo Svensson, done a good job at Mainz, he did. He was soaked up big time, Svensson. Steve P says Dyche could win the next 5 games and I'd 100% still want him gone at the end of the season, and it wouldn't even be a debate for me. There you go.
No, I feel exactly the same.
We need to get, for me, the ownership needs sorting ASAP, because we can't do anything at any level of the club until we've got the ownership sorted. Whether it's 777, get the decision, and if it isn't, then go and hawk your arse around everywhere and get new owners. Let's see what happens. Right, we're going. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. Go and watch the Jared Brantwaite player focus video while you're there. Go and have a little listen to something that's been positive about Everton Football Club this season. It is there. Go and check it out. Thanks for watching. See you later.